Okay, so Ruby now has its home with Viz Media. The question is, well, if and when we get Volume 10, who should be playing, who are we going to have in certain roles? So I'm going to do my little casting list of sorts. Now, keep in mind, for this video, I'm not going to recast every character. The only character I am going to recast is Tyrion Callows. Mostly due to, for those who don't remember, back in 2022, the character's original voice actor at the time, Joshua, before he became a transy and renamed himself Jessica Grelly, quit the show after Rooster Teeth's complete hypocrisy in supporting the LGBT community. You do you, I guess, but then again, becoming a trans does lead to a lot of psychological imbalances. When I heard that happen, I was trying to think of what voice actor would fit best for that kind of chaotic, evil, bloodthirsty, slimy, psychotic maniac, bloodthirsty, zealot level maniac. My original choice was Chris Patton. Unfortunately, he's been pressured into retirement this year, so unfortunately, we can't use him. My next option was Greg Ayers, but that's off the table as well. So, who's the next best option for me? Especially since this is going to be in California now instead of Texas, which means Bangzoom is going to be going to be calling the shots. My choice to replace Grelly as Tyrion Callows is, drum roll please, Keith Silverstone. Why him? Well, think of his track record. He's pretty good at playing villains, even though most people would recognize him best, these days especially, as everyone's favorite JoJo husbando, Robert E.O. Speedwagon in JoJo's parts 1 and 2. You have to think back they can do pretty competent, good villains. I mean, Johann Liebert in Monster, Gabriel Agast, aka Hawkmoth in Miraculous Adventures of Ladybug and Cat Noir, Lord Orochi in One Piece, and Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter. But more relying on a mix of Johan and Hisoka would be the best option for him to pull off a good Tyrion in this case. Now, he may only be around for a volume or two at most, but if anything, I'd say Keith is the best fit for this psychotic scorpion faunus. Next up is Professor Theodore, the headmaster of Shade Academy. Originally, based on the descriptions I've gotten from him that I've gotten from people like Phoenix Knight and that Kaido Dan, based on the on the Vacuo novels that were distributed out in the time between volumes 7 and 8. My original choice was going to be Chris Rager. However, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with now all dubbing of this series going to be taking place in Los Angeles as opposed to Austin in Dallas. And given what little glimpses of Theo we did see, in RWBY Volume 9 Beyond, I decided to go old school with this one. My choice here would be old Jet Black himself, John Bo Billingsley, most known for playing Homura and A in Naruto, Shippuden, Ogremon in the original Digimon Adventure Cuts, and of course, Jet Black in Cowboy Bebop. And Bear Walken in Gungrave, though he also has a litany of more title roles. Now, while he may not have the same level of blowhard clout as Rhaegar, I think Bo has a lot more command presence, given that he's been in the game for many more years, not just in voiceover work, but also with cameos in live action live action sitcoms, and in television commercials, cop dramas, and TV commercials. So I think this would be a good for me. I'd say Bo would be a good fit. Next up, Professor Rumple, the person who has to constantly put up with him, as deputy headmistress of Shade Academy. Well, maybe a bit cliche to do this one, but I think they do best when they're together with and without Steve Bloom. So you guys know where I'm going with this. My option to play Professor Rumple is Wendy Lee. Just play as sardonic as she can play Faye Valentine in Cowboy Bebop, or Katana Izumi in Lucky Star. Then I think this could work perfectly. Do you not agree with me, folks? Then we have to add the two antagonists from the books, specifically the Crown Syndicate head honchos, Jackie and Jillian, basically gender swaps of Jack and Jill. So we need a female and a male in this spot. This is gonna be a tough one. Hmm. I got it. How would you guys feel for Jackie if Jackie were played by Kira Buckland? Right. Contrast, Jillian would be played by, let's see. I know. This is a certain second gen voiceover actor, specifically Bryce Papenbrook, Bob Pappenbrook's the son of the late Bob Pappenbrook. I'm sharing my picks, Bean. Sheesh. Next is the Summer Maiden. This one would be a tough one. Because we're probably looking for a young woman to play this one. Let's face it, not a lot of the VAs these days are female VAs are fucking spring chickens. A few of them have been around the block a couple of times. Hmm. If I had to pick someone, how about Laura Post? I'm just trying to stress here. At this point, I'm picking with the other with characters like the Crown Syndicate, the Summer Maiden, and whoever is going to be the embodiment of the Relic of Destruction, the spirit inside the Sword of Destruction. It's me just trying to grasping at straws. The other three picks I had some levels of logic behind them. Now, as for the Spirit of Destruction, now I do this predominantly as a mock, i.e., a diss, a bitch slap, if you will. And why do I say this? Well, it's because, again, the majority of the voice actors that I didn't touch have seldom worked at Bangzoom in California. The only exceptions being Kent Williams, Tara Plott, Yuri Lowenthal, Caitlin Glass, when he was still on the show, Vic Mignogna, Jeremy Lee, the late Billy Kametz, rest in peace. I believe Todd Womack and Mike Lauer, Anaris Quinoris, briefly as Yoruichi in Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, just for as a heads up before when he snapped back. I did a video about that over last summer. And this is more apparent if the sword, now it depends on what the spirit of the sword is or who it's supposed to be. If the spirit of the sword is meant to be Lancelot, the knight responsible for Camelot's downfall, I'm going to choose Patrick Seitz. But if it's based on Merlin's eternal nemesis, Morgan Le Fay, I'm going to say Monica Rial. Mostly as a way to get back, as a bitch slap. But again, she's such an egomaniac, I don't think she'd ever work at a California studio. So we'll throw her out the window, and I'll say give it to, I don't know, Barbara Goodson. Given how Bangzoom has been one of her primary voice acting moneymakers these days, in terms of her getting roles. But again, that depend with the spirit of the sword, it's dependent on which road road you want to go. I don't know which way to go with it, but as far as what cast members are going to come in, this is all I got at this point. Comment, like, and subscribe. This is Mex 128 signing out. Goodbye. Good fucking night. Bang.